नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे स्वामिने तापहारिणे यथाग्नेर्दाहिका शक्ति रामकृष्णे स्थिता हि या सर्वविद्या स्वरूपान्ता शारदा शारदा प्रणमाम्यहम्।
श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। ओम नमो भगवते रामकृष्णाय। Good morning to all. From today, we have the 7th series of special lectures in this academic session by Professor Nagaraj Paturi. We'll begin this series of lectures with the Vedic chanting by the students of our department.
श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। हरिः ओम। अथ ऋग्वेदीयं संज्ञानसूक्तम्। अस्य सूक्तस्य संवर्णः ऋषिः अनुष्टुभादीनि छन्दांसि अग्निर्देवता ब्रह्मयज्ञजपे विनियोगः। हरिः ओम। संगच्छध्वं संवदध्वं संवो मनांसि जानतां देवा भागं यथा पूर्वे संजानाना उपासते समानो मंत्रः समितिः समानि समानं मनस्सह चित्तमेषां समानं मन्त्रमभिमन्त्रये वस्समाने नवो हविषा जुहोमि समानि व आकूतिः समाना हृदयानि वः समानमस्तु वो मनो यथा वस्सु सहासते। हरिः ओम। अथ शुक्लयजुर्वेदीयं योगक्षेमसूक्तम्। अस्य सूक्तस्य याज्ञवल्क्यः ऋषिः यजुश्छन्दः राष्ट्राभिमानिनी भारतमातृका देवता राष्ट्राभिवर्धने विनियोगः। हरिः ओम। आब्रह्मन् ब्राह्मणो ब्रह्मवर्चसि जायतामा राष्ट्रे राजन्यः शूर एकभियोतिव्याधि महारथो जायतान्दोग्ध्रि धेनुर्बोढ नडवानाशोः सप्तेः पुरन्धिर्जोखा जिष्णुरथेष्ठाः सभेयो जुवास्य जजमानस्य वीरो जायतान्निकामे निकामेनः पर्जन्यो वरिखतु फलवत्यो न ओखधयः पच्यन्तां योगक्षेमो नः कल्पताम् हरिः ॐ.
Thanks to the students for the Vedic chanting. May I welcome you all first. Dear Maharaj Swami Vedarthanandaji, Professor Nagaraj Paturi, respectable teachers, and dear students. Hearty welcome to you all for this series of special lectures. We have Professor Nagaraj Paturi from Hyderabad. Paturi holds doctoral degree from University of Hyderabad for his research work in myth criticism of 16th century narrative poems. Presently he is serving as the director of Indic Academy of Sanskrit Indological Studies, Hyderabad. Previously, he was a visiting professor in the University of Chicago for several years. Now, he is also a distinguished professor and serves as a member of the Board of Studies in MIT School of Vedic Sciences, Pune. Apart from that, in several other esteemed institutions, Professor Paturi is the member of the Board of Studies, like the Chinmaya Vishwavidyapita in Kerala and Kavikula Guru Kalidasa Sanskrit University, Ramtek, Nagpur. He has several publications and research papers. Professor Nagaraj Paturi is a multifaceted personality. Apart from his deep knowledge and wonderful grasp over the scriptures, he also is a creative writer. He has contribution to the classical dance, modern theater, and performance arts. This blend of the modern knowledge with the traditional scriptural knowledge is what we need today. By his father, he learned several scriptures. While I was talking to him today in the morning, he disclosed certain facts which our students also should know. When he was of the age of 2 years old child, he could recite Amarkosha, learned from his mother. By the time he entered the modern schooling, the modern schools which all children are put into, before entering the modern schooling, he had completed Raghuvamsham and Kumara Sambhavam, learned from his father. When he was of the age of 7, he learnt Advaita Vedanta. There in the school, they brought in some verses from Dakshinamurti Stotra, and he could not follow what it actually wanted to convey at that young age. So he requested his father that he wants to learn Advaita Vedanta. Like this, he had very good grounding in traditional scriptures, and he knows all the modern trends in the Sanskrit studies and research now, especially, say, in nations like US, Germany, London. People are all studying our Shastras and trying to interpret in many ways. But in many cases, what happens is the main intention of the Rishi is lost, or in some places, intentionally they are interpreted in a different way. Nowadays, of course, we have political freedom, but cultural freedom, economic freedom, social freedom is yet to come, and especially so in the academic world. So, the Sanskrit students and the scholars need to come up to the modern challenges. They will have to counter the bad effect that is being created systemically by the academicians outside. Such a very rare blend of traditional and the modern in one person we have in Professor Nagaraj Paturi. I heartily welcome Professor Nagaraj Paturi for this series of special lectures. I request him to please come and take the seat. The first lecture of the series will be on challenges faced by Sanskrit studies during 21st century and our tasks. Today we have two more lectures. From 2:45 p.m. in the afternoon, there will be a lecture on do we need to be scientific, put in double quotes. Do we need to be scientific, put in double quotes. And in the evening from 6:30 to 8:30, we have another lecture, did Shastras get stagnated? That is the topic. Now it's up to Professor Nagaraj Paturi.
तच्छंयोरावृणीमहे गातुं यज्ञाय गातुं यज्ञपतये दैवी स्वस्तिरस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जिगातु भेषजं शं नो अस्तु द्विपदे शं चतुष्पदे ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. I feel myself blessed to have been at the very place where I have always considered myself to be a devotee of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and I used to emulate Swami Vivekananda so much that at your age people used to see Swami Vivekananda's face in my face. And people used to say, you are looking like Vivekananda. Then I used to say, Brahmara Kita Nyaya. It is not because I was like him, I was as great as him. It is, all of you know Nyayas in Sanskrit. All of you are very good students of Sanskrit. So I need not tell you about Brahmara Kita Nyaya. So I was just a Kita, but got the face of the Brahmara. Respected Swami Japasiddhananda ji, respected Swami Vedarthananda ji, and all my faculty colleagues from the teaching side, and all my dear students. As Swamiji was introduced me about me, like all of you, I was also young student some time ago. As crazy as you are all. Do you understand the word crazy? Pagal? हाँ? रामकृष्ण परमहंस का तो पागल पुजारी बोलते थे ना, हम भी पागल हैं। विद्या के प्रति पागल है। मैं आप सब लोगों को देखकर इतना आनंद लेता था सुबह कि संस्कृत पढ़ने के लिए इतना आसक्त होकर किताब हाथ में पकड़कर इतनी श्रद्धा से इधर ये युवक लोग घूम रहे हैं। ये तो कंप्यूटर साइंस नहीं है, इंजीनियरिंग नहीं है, ये तो कोई एडवांस्ड टेक्नोलॉजी कोर्स तो नहीं है। संस्कृत पढ़ने के लिए इतने लोग पागल बनकर घूम रहे हैं। अरे मेरे जैसे तो ये है, मैं भी पागल था, ऐसे ही था। बचपन में जब मैं 2 साल 3 साल का था, एक छोटी लड़की आई थी मेरी जैसी, 2 साल 3 साल की। मैं नाम पूछा, क्या नाम है? बोली इंदिरा। मैं बोलने लगा, इंदिरा लोक माता माँ रमा मंगल देवता भार्गव लोक जननी क्षीर सागर कन्यका। तो डर गई, अरे क्या बोल रहे हो, गालियां तो नहीं दे रहे हो? मैं तो एक ही नाम बताया, इंदिरा। ये सब क्या है, इंदिरा लोक माता माँ? तो मैं बोला, नहीं, तुम्हारे लिए बहुत ज़्यादा से नाम है। इंदिरा तो एक रखा नाम है, लोक माता है, माँ है, रमा है, मंगल देवता है। अरे इतने बहुत से नाम है तुम्हारे। तो तब आनंद मिला। तो जाकर के सब लोगों से बताते गए। कभी भी उनके उसका नाम पूछते लोग तो बोलने लगी, इंदिरा लोक माता माँ साहब। मेरा नाम इंदिरा नहीं है, मेरा नाम बहुत बड़ी है, इंदिरा लोक माता माँ है। ये सब बताने लगे। ऐसे थे हम बचपन में। जब भी एक शब्द सुनते हैं अमरकोश में चले जाते हैं, नहीं तो दांत पाठ में चले जाते हैं, शब्द मंजरी में चले जाते हैं। समझते नहीं थे, बच्चे थे। ये सब शास्त्र है, ये शब्द मंजरी के टेबल्स है, ये हम कंठतः कर रहे हैं, ये सब तो जानते नहीं थे। कुछ एक शब्द सुनाई पड़ा तो उससे उसमें चले जाते। ऐसे थे, पागल थे, है ना। सिर्फ पागल ही तर्क पढ़ सकता है। तर्क पढ़ने से क्या मिलता है? न्याय, तर्क संग्रह। पढ़ने से पैसे तो नहीं मिलता है ना। व्याकरण कौन पढ़ेगा? रुद्धिरादैच, क्या मिलेगा उससे? पैसे तो नहीं मिलेगा। बोलते हैं पुराने जमाने में भारत में ये व्याकरण पढ़ने वाले, न्याय पढ़ने वाले, मीमांसा पढ़ने वाले, वेदांत पढ़ने वाले लोगों के ऊपर चढ़कर, सर के ऊपर चढ़कर कुचलते थे उन लोगों को। एक व्याकरण पढ़ने वाला क्या कुचल सकता है? किसको कुचल सकता है? वो तो पागल बनकर जंगल में बैठता था, जो किसी को समझ में नहीं आता उसको रगड़ रगड़ कर पढ़ता जाता था। मछली तो नहीं पकड़ता है, कम से कम मछली पकड़ा तो भी खा सकता है मछली को, मछली तो नहीं पकड़ता है। लकड़ी से काम तो नहीं करता है, पेट के लिए कुछ भी नहीं मिलता है, जा करके वहां वेदांत, क्या मिलेगा वेदांत में? कुछ भी नहीं। आज भी जाइए यूनिवर्सिटीज में देखिए, फिलॉसफी डिपार्टमेंट एक रहता है, पता है आपको? यूनिवर्सिटीज में फिजिक्स रहता है, केमिस्ट्री रहता है, बॉटनी, जुआलॉजी, सब डिपार्टमेंट्स रहते हैं। उनमें से लिटरेचर के डिपार्टमेंट्स भी होंगे, पॉलिटिकल साइंस, सोशियोलॉजी वगैरह। एप्लीकेशंस का परसेंटेज देखिए, इंटेंसिटी देखिए। अपना ही यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ हैदराबाद में फिलॉसफी के लिए 40 सीट्स अगर होंगे तो 6 एप्लीकेशन आना बहुत है। फिजिक्स के लिए अगर 20 सीट्स है तो 6000 एप्लीकेशंस आते हैं। बीटेक के लिए इतना कंपटीशन है मार्केट में, मेडिसिन के लिए इतना कंपटीशन है। ये मेडिसिन का और बीटेक का और फिजिक्स का पुराना रूप क्या था? मेडिसिन का पुराना रूप तो आयुर्वेद वैद्य था। बीटेक वगैरह का तो अगले अलग अलग जातियों के जो ऑक्यूपेशंस थे, कैस्ट ऑक्यूपेशंस थे, वे सब थे। ये सब तो ये व्याकरण, तर्क, मीमांसा पढ़ने वालों के तो नहीं ना। व्याकरण, तर्क, मीमांसा ये सब पढ़ने वाले लोग तो बीटेक जैसे कुछ भी नहीं करते थे ना। फिलॉसफी में एप्लीकेशन कौन देता है यूनिवर्सिटी में? पागल ही देता है। अगर पागल नहीं तो फिलॉसफी में नहीं जाता है ना। वेदों में, श्रुति में एक शाखा है आरण्यक। क्या मतलब? अरण्यों में रहते थे इसलिए आरण्यक थे, जंगली लोग, है ना। जंगली लोग जो कुछ भी बोले वो आरण्यक बन गया। जो कुछ भी पागल थे ब्रह्म के पीछे, उन लोगों के बाद ब्राह्मण बन गए। और ब्रह्मर्षि बनने के लिए तो सबसे बड़ा पागल बनना पड़ता है। छोटा सा पागल हम लोग हैं, है ना। पागलपन में 2 तरह का पागलपन होता है। शास्त्रीय पागलपन एक है, कवितात्मक पागलपन और एक है ना, कलात्मक। मेरे में तो स्वामी जी बता रहे थे दोनों तरह के पागलपन हैं। मैं कवि भी हूं, कलाकार भी हूं और शास्त्र का आदमी भी हूं। ये जिसमें पागलपन ज्यादा रहता है उसको ऋषि बोलते हैं। ये ऋषि अगर ऋषि भी है और राजा भी है तो राजर्षि था। बहुत बड़ा पागल बोलने के लिए महर्षि बोलते थे। महर्षि, आप लोग तो जानते हैं संधि क्या है। और ये महर्षि आगे जाकर ब्रह्मर्षि बनते थे। क्या मतलब? अगर ब्रह्मर्षि बनना है तो श्री रामकृष्ण परमहंस जैसे, भगवान श्री रामकृष्ण परमहंस जैसे उन लोग ब्रह्मर्षि है। सबसे बड़ा पागल, किसी को समझ में नहीं आता क्या बोल रहा है। बनने से क्या होता है? बैठता है, अंदर ही अंदर चला जाता है। जिस बात पर उसका ध्यान लग जाता है वही बात अंदर से निकलकर स्वयंभू होकर शब्द के रूप में निकल जाता है। वो जो शब्द निकला बहुत दिन पहले, बहुत साल पहले, सैकड़ों साल पहले, सहस्रों साल पहले जो शब्द निकला था, एक स्वर से, एक स्वर के साथ स्वयंभू होकर निकला, इसलिए उसको हम अपौरुषेय कहते हैं। ब्रह्मर्षि से निकला, पागलों से निकला, सबसे बड़े पागलों से निकला शब्द को कौन पढ़ सकता है? पागल लोग ही पढ़ सकते हैं, है ना? I am trying to communicate with you in Hindi, thinking that it may communicate better. Samskrita bhashayam mama bhashanadhara ativa nasti. I have been into modern careers of teaching and research for a very long time, for several decades. So I lost my fluency in Sanskrit that I used to have in my youth. So I thought my English, I don't know whether it communicates to you or not. I'll be able to communicate well with you or not. So yeah, I'll continue in English wherever possible. Let me first try to know how many of you are teachers. Okay. How many of you are research students? Okay. How many of you are MA students, postgraduate students? Okay. How many of you are BA students? Good. Yeah, as expected, BA students are more in number, lesser in MA, still lesser in research, and very few teachers. That's the expected ratio. The topic chosen for today's talk, challenges, the topic chosen, has been chosen keeping mainly the teaching community in mind, but nevertheless, you youngsters also need to know, because you are the ones who are going to face these challenges for the next century, 21st century. By the time you're going to face these challenges, most of us even may not be there alive. You are the ones, you are the hopes of the future of India. I was telling you that I was very happy to see you as crazy as myself, all because these are the people that are needed today, not those who are falling after B.Techs and medicines. In the other parts of the world, like in United States and other developed countries, courses like B.Tech and medicine are not considered to be courses of the rich. They are pursued only by the middle classes there, because they are job-oriented courses. They give you jobs. Who studies the courses like philosophy that you guys are studying here? They are taken up in liberal arts colleges. There are colleges which are called liberal arts colleges and liberal education universities. There is a liberal arts college there where there is a course called Course in Classics. That course is purely a course of which makes you study just classics of the world, all the great classic works of the world. And those courses are taken up by the affluent communities, affluent families, because they think that they are not in need of job. They are not in need of money paying careers. So they have the luxury of studying things which blossom the mind, which allow the mind blossom, which allow the minds open up and all that. But you people are studying here the same courses which open up your mind, which take you from the level of Rishi to the Brahmarshi, which make you understand the greatest things of the world like Vedanta. I just had a chat with one of the students who was sent to me as a company. The amount of intensity of the courses that they are giving you here in Vedanta, in Advaita Vedanta, is so great that actually traditionally in traditional studies, a full 12-year course would have taken you to Sutra Bhashya, Brahma Sutra Bhashya, but in MA you are studying Sutra Bhashya here. So you are going to such advanced levels into areas which are not job oriented. These are not job oriented courses. This is a luxury for some countries. To study non-job oriented courses is a luxury. Only rich people, only affluent people go for such courses. But if somebody who is not rich is also going for a course which is not job giving or money paying, he definitely must be very, very dedicated to that field, highly dedicated to that field, enjoying that field, enjoying the juice of that field. You must all be of that kind. That's what I found, and I enjoyed seeing you all into such luxury which only affluent people can afford, rich people can afford, but you are not. I know, I'm able to see that you are not from those families, but still you are into an area which is not so job paying or money paying. But can Sanskrit studies remain like this? Today, the society is asking, why would you do all these time wasting things? It's funny people, funny society. Earlier they said that by studying these things in forests, these people acquired a lot of money and trampled over the heads of all other people. Today they say, why are you wasting time? Same thing, same studies. Through these same studies, they thought that the people who studied became the dominant community. Are you all right, sir? Okay. Yeah. So, dominant community, and they did exploitation of the lower communities and all that. But today, the same society says, why are you wasting government money, taxpayers' money, by encouraging these studies which are useless? What do you do with this Tarka? What do you do with this Mimamsa? What do you do with this Vedanta? In what way is this useful? This question from the society, this question from the government, this question from the politicians today is the first challenge that we are facing. But my feeling has been, actually I have been a teacher in management colleges also, and in most of the management colleges, problems are seen as opportunities. Challenges are seen as opportunities. So this challenge that society is posing to us today, what is the use of this? What is the use of Sanskrit studies? Is the opportunity that we have. If we just peep out of the window of our classrooms, Sanskrit classrooms, we can see that a lot is going on which gives us a huge amount of inspiration that people are looking for our help. For example, when you see that women go to a beauty parlor, the advertisement is that herbal cosmetics are being used there, not chemical cosmetics. Where do these herbal cosmetics come from? From Ayurveda, from Ayurvedic literature. And who can interpret these Ayurvedic books? Only you. So, if you watch a woman going to a beauty parlor, a modern woman, a worldly woman, not like you, they are worldly people, they have money, they can pay to the beauty parlor and get themselves decorated, they are ready to pay any amount of money, they need your help. Because those chemicals have been spoiling their health and they need herbal cosmetics, and your contribution is required there. And today you go, wellness is such a big industry. Recently I had I'm a quarreling person. I'm known for my fighting with people. And I mostly fight with these Western Indologists. And one of the Western Indologists had a quarrel with me, had debate with me. This man is angry with anyone who uses the word Vedic for anything. If you say Vedic medicine, he says, where is Vedic in this? Vedic astrology, where is Vedic in this? One ISKCON person wrote Vedic Village about Bhakti, and this man started asking, how is Bhakti Vedic? So for everything that you use Vedic, he keeps asking why it is Vedic. Then I quarreled with him. Yes, it is all Vedic. I proved, I argued with him. But he said, I am angry with you people because you are capturing $300 million of wellness industry business out of the $7 trillion industry, which is the total size of the wellness industry. You are capturing that. I don't like that. You Indians have to be beggars. You have been beggars, and you should continue that. I don't like this. Yeah, this same person is conducting a big conference in Japan called Yogascapes in Japan. This person is from Australia. Just a few months ago, he was asking me, can you get me a job in India? This Australian. Did you ever imagine an Australian, a Westerner asking for a job in India? We were always thinking of our people going abroad, asking for jobs there, begging for jobs there. Today, they are all standing in lines in front of our universities to get jobs here. And this man asked me to get him a job in one of the Indian universities. Luckily, he got some job in Japan, and he is using this for this. And he very clearly told me in one of the correspondences that he is angry because yoga is capturing a huge share of the wellness industry today. And you know that yoga, not yoga. You have another new word called yoga. There is no dirgha in the beginning, there is no hrasva in the end. It is reverse. Hrasva in the beginning, dirgha in the end. It is not yoga, it is yoga. Right? And when I was working in Chicago, after the class hours, because I was a guest there, I was waiting in a bus stop. the clerical staff there, one of the women, she was walking and she said, "Hey, can you go for yoga with me?" Then I said, "What is this yoga?" She said, "Yeah, you don't know yoga? I will teach you yoga," she said. Me. She teaches me yoga. I said, yeah, please teach me yoga. Okay, there was a funny conversation after that. That's not the point. But the point is that it has become so popular today that just a stranger in the street comes to an Indian and says that I want to teach you yoga. And these people, they go to these so-called yoga classes, learn some all asanas, funny asanas, some physical education like asanas, drill like asanas, and gradually they get interested in what is this yoga. And they want to study. They learn that Patanjali is associated with this. Then they learn that there is a book called Yoga Sutras. And they learn that there is something called Ashtanga Yoga. There are teachers, their own Australian teachers, their own British teachers, Irish teachers. They tell them that, so whatever you learned in the form of asanas is just the tip of the iceberg. The whole thing is Ashtanga Yoga. It is so big. It is in the Yoga Sutras. We want to teach you that. Then they get surprised. What is this Yoga Sutras? They start learning Ashtanga Yoga. If they want to learn that, who is going to help them? Not that fellow who sits in that Irish school or Australian school. You are all the ones who can help them. You are sitting here in Ramakrishna Math here, Belur. Some fellow who doesn't even understand basics of Sanskrit or who translates Nirodha as resistance. Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. For him, resistance to all psychological faculties. It is yoga. He teaches it there. You are all sitting here, you understand the dhatu rind and how the upasarga nihi applies to that, how you get nirodha, how Patanjali would have used it differently than the other uses of nirodha in other places. You know everything. You have practiced sections of Yoga Sutras, but you are sitting here. They are making money out of all this knowledge. You need not do this. You can go there, teach them the right way of understanding Yoga Sutras, right way of understanding Ashtanga Yoga. And recently, we know these funniest people of the earth called left people in India, Marxist. हम तो पागल शब्द का उपयोग लाक्षणिक रूप में करते थे, ये तो सच्ची पागल है. ये एक आर्टिकल था इंटरनेट में, एक मार्क्सिस्ट आदमी लिखता था, मैं पतंजलि का योग सूत्र पढ़ चुका हूँ, इसमें कहीं भी मुझे आसन नहीं दिखा. जो मोदी कर रहा है ये योग का प्रचार आसन के रूप में, ये तो पातंजल नहीं है, लिख चुका था. मैं उसको बोला, बुक में आसन कहीं दिखता है? नहीं दिखता है. आसन देखना है तो लोगों को देखना, आसन करते हैं. है ना? ये मैं बोला स्थिर सुखम आसनम एक सूत्र है। स्थिर सुखम आसनम में तो आसन है, मगर ये जो आसन का जो प्रचार चल रहा है ये तो हठ योग से मिलता है। आप हठ योग प्रदीपिका कभी पढ़े हैं? घेरंडा संहिता कभी पढ़े हैं? तो उसको कभी नाम ही नहीं सुनता है ना। हठ योग प्रदीपिका ये क्या है? हट करता है क्या वो? हट करने से हठ योग प्रदीप, एक घेरंडा संहिता तो बड़ी बात बन गई, उच्चारण ही नहीं मिलता। एक घेरंडा क्या है? कुछ भी नहीं पता इन लोगों को, बोल देते हैं ये पातंजल नहीं है, इसको ये कनेक्शन नहीं है, वो कनेक्शन नहीं है, पागल के बात करते बैठते हैं। बट यू आर देयर, you know how to study Hatha Yoga Pradipika, you know how to study Gheranda Sanhita, and you know to practice Kriyas, you know how to practice Dhauti, Nauli, various Kriyas, and you know how to interpret those books. You can get into those things. You need not stop here in this campus. The whole world is waiting for you. The whole world is begging at the feet of you. Please help me. Please help me try to understand these books. You need not waste your time just lamenting that I've been just a crazy man studying some crazy books. The whole world is waiting for the benefits of Sanskrit studies that are happening here. Do you know that there is a career job called executive coach? In very big corporate companies, there is a coaching called executive coaching that is given. CEOs and MDs of these companies are given a coach, a trainer. He is usually a psychologist. He trains him personality wise to become a good leader and all that. Into this area of executive coach nowadays, Buddhists are entering all over the world. Buddhism is our own philosophy, Indian philosophy, Indic philosophy, absolutely nothing to do with those Western people, but they have entered into this. Western society has entered into Buddhism now. Many of the Westerners are getting converted into Buddhism, and it is these Western Buddhists that are talking about Buddhist ideas in executive coaching and all that, not the original Buddhists of Arunachal Pradesh or Nepal or anyone that we know, the traditional actual Buddhists that we know from India, the actual practitioners of the deep practices of Buddhism, these are not the ones they are going there, it is the Westerners they are going there. And Advaita Vedanta, as you all know, has very, very similar ideas such as the ones that are being used by Buddhists in executive coaching. There are friends of mine in these Indic groups. Now the organization for which I have been made the director now is owned by a businessman called Harikiran Vadlamani ji. He is crazy after Advaita Vedanta. He can do anything for Advaita Vedanta. Recently he did something very crazy in writing a letter to me. He said he wants to do Prayaschitta in behalf of Shankaracharya if Shankaracharya has done anything wrong. I said, no, for our Guru we should never use even such expressions that he has done something wrong. He can never do it. So even imagining that he must have done something wrong and we want to do Prayaschitta itself is not correct. So, but that shows the amount of dedication he has got for Advaita Vedanta. And he has been pestering all of us. Sirs, why are you sitting here? Go, do the same thing that Buddhists are doing for executive coaching through Advaita Vedanta. Why not use Advaita Vedanta there for executive coaching? And you know how much paying these jobs are? Lakhs of rupees a month you get as an executive coach for the MD or CEO of a company. And there are psychologists who are trained with MSc in psychology or MBBS with psychiatry. They know today that yoga is useful, Ayurveda is useful, there are many other alternative medicinal aspects that are useful for their own practice, but they do not have an authentic training in those aspects. Authentic training can come only from you, because you learnt Sanskrit authentically. Instead of sitting here just lamenting about the prospects for Sanskrit, you could go there, teach these MSc psychology people, medicine, MBBS psychiatry people, the authentic information that is available in yoga literature, Vedanta literature, and so on. Opportunity came to us. The one that was mentioned in my profile by Swami Japasiddhanandaji, the executive membership and distinguished professorship at MIT School of Vedic Sciences that I hold now, that came to us from that investor, Professor Vishwanath Karad, who runs MIT ADT University. One day he called us and said, time has come now. The whole world is waiting for Vedic sciences. Can you start a school of Vedic sciences here? Then we said yes. And as a starting course, what would you like to start? We said we want to start a BSc in Vedic psychology. We started. Now we are into the third year of that course. And in that course we teach, for example, even Prasthanatraya is there. The last semester I was teaching Prasthanatraya to them. But not the entire Sutra Bhashya or anything like that. From all the Brahma Sutras, whatever concepts are useful for psychology, we collect them, we teach them. We teach the psychology aspects from Bhagavad Gita, we teach them from the Upanishads. I made them read the English translation of Upanishads from the as authentic person as possible, not the Western translations. For example, I gave Shivanandaji's translation, Gambhiranandaji's translation, or something like that. They read English translations, and I made them bring out the psychological aspects by themselves, all by themselves. They are now being taught all kinds of psychological things as part of their BSc course. For example, one new aspect that I thought I introduced into that course is epics and personalities. I was wondering all the time, we have such beautiful mythologies like Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavata, but we don't borrow words from our own epics and talk about various personality problems. We don't dare to do that. But because we have a funny psychology, anything is great if we don't understand the word. Right? See, Sigmund Freud said this. That is authentic because we don't understand the name Sigmund Freud. Isn't it? Say some Ramcharan Bhattopadhyaya said this, Bandhopadhyaya said this. It should not be great because Bandhopadhyaya we understand. Ramcharan, both we understand. So, if you understand the name of the finding scholar, it should not be great. If we say some Timbuktu, some ununderstandable word, it should be something great. But Can I use a word like Karna complex? Karna complex, Karna I understand. So that should not be any great theory at all. Okay, let me say, there is a person among your friends who actually does not understand why he is doing that, whatever he is doing. For example, he is born into a carpenter's family. He wants to get an Upanayanam done onto him, and he wants to study only Brahma Sutra Bhashya. He does not understand why he is doing that. He has got an identity question about himself, why he is doing that. And Karna had the same problem. Karna was born into, he found himself among the cart maker's family, Rathakara family. And he always wanted to fight. He always wanted to hold bows and arrows. He never understood why he was doing that. He always had this question. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? All friends say you are a weird guy. You don't do what we do. You are not a carpenter. You are holding bows and arrows all the time. Towards the end of his life, his actual mother Kunti comes and tells him, this is why. Indra comes and tells him, this is why. Surya comes and tells him, this is why. Krishna comes and tells him, this is why. And then he got angry. He said, all these years of my life I have been suffering with this question. Why was I like that? Why was I different? But now towards the end of my life, all of you come and answer that question to me. When all the consequences of that have happened, because of the identity vacuum that I had, because of the identity crisis into which I fell, I had to make friends only with the bad guys. And I was trapped into bad activities. Now I am facing the consequence of all the adharma that I did. I have to face it. I have to pay for it. I am going to pay for it. I am ready to pay for it. But you could have stopped it if you gave me the right identity at the right time. You could have given me the right answer to my right question. If anyone is suffering like that today among us, we can say that he is suffering from what? Karna complex. Can't we use this word? Karna complex? So if we have a case, a psychological case, where a person is suffering from identity crisis, identity, Jung, for example, another psychoanalyst coming from the same school of Sigmund Freud, he uses the word, Jung, Jung, it is pronounced as Jung. He uses the word identity vacuum. He says modernity, in the name of rationality, has created identity vacuum today. How? It says, if you say I am a Brahmin, it says no, should not say Brahmin. If you say I am a sonar, no, you should not say sonar. If you say I am a male, no, you are neither male nor female. You are either L or G or B or T or something else. L, G, B, T. There is a very complex gender identity. You are not clearly male. You are not clearly female. You are not clearly man. You are not clearly animal. You are not clearly... It's not a joke. You are a social animal. See, it is serious. Theoretically, when Sigmund Freud or anyone gives primacy to id, instincts, it is because they consider all human beings as animals. If clinical experiments in medicine are being done on animals, then only on human beings, because they consider us to be animals. In classical psychology, all the experiments of classical psychology were conducted on primates, chimpanzees, because they considered us part of animals. So when I say you are neither an animal nor human, I was serious. They really believe this. You are an animal. And you are neither an animal nor human. You are neither male nor female. You are neither old nor young. You are neither this nor that. Neti, neti, neti. Neti was used in Vedanta for some very good purpose. But rational people, rationality, modernity uses neti to kill your identity completely. And says, you are none of these. Then what am I? You are nothing. There is seriously a philosophy called nihilism. Nihilism means nothingism. You are nothing. Jung says this is vacuum, identity vacuum. Modernity, in the name of rationality, has created identity vacuum, he says, and then he says it leads to identity crisis. And this identity crisis is the reason for all the youngsters of today falling behind bad activities like Karna. They are making friends with Duryodhanas only. Because it is Duryodhana who says, I identify you as Kshatriya. Because today you do not know whether you are a valorous person, you are a scholar, you are an artist, you are this, you are that. Then one guy, one drug addict on the road comes and says that, oh, you are a good stoner, man. And you turn into a stoner. Like Duryodhana says, you are a Kshatriya, I give you Angarajya. He gives you that. You are waiting for an identity. Even girls, they know that they are beautiful, they are good girls, they are this, they are that, but the modernity tells them that you are not girl itself. You have no femininity. Femininity is dangerous. You read feminist literature, I tell you, I am serious. Feminist literature says that femininity is artificial construct created by males for exploiting women. There is nothing like femininity. They use words like naturalist politics. I am using the words that they use. They say these are politics of naturalization. You are naturalizing femininity, though it's not natural. Okay? So once this identity is removed from them, they are also struggling from the question of who am I? What am I? Then one guy comes and says, you are my lover. Then she realizes, yes. All these days I did not know who I am. And she then realizes her identity and falls into the trap. We do not know the consequences. That guy may sell her in Bombay red light area. Whatever are the consequences of, why should this fellow flirt with such high sounding words without any purpose? Why would he do that? Most of the times there is some motive behind such trappings of flirtings. And this is working because she is suffering from identity vacuum, identity crisis. Because she has been told, you are not this, you are not this, you are not this. And now I am. One answer has been given. And that answer is a dangerous answer. This is what Jung says. Identity vacuum is leading to identity crisis, and identity crisis is leading to bad characters. He gives some more reasons. I am going to teach you those things in one of these days in the whole week. I probably am going to teach you archetypal theory of Jung. At that time, I will teach you greater details of what Jung said. What Jung says is that because of identity crisis and identity vacuum, all the inner archetypes are coming out into the streets and they are playing havoc. But this statement, all the inner archetypes are coming into the streets and are playing havoc, you will understand only when I teach you archetypal theory at a later stage of these 1 week long courses. But Jung said this, and that can be called Karna complex. Right? What happened to Karna is that he was suffering from identity crisis and he was given some identity by Duryodhana, and ultimately he became one of the Dushta Chatushtaya of Mahabharata. Right? This is the course we have for BSc Psychology. We called that course Epics and Personalities. You are all capable of creating such courses. You are all capable of coming up with new ideas for psychology from epics, from Mahabharata, from Ramayana, from Bhagavata, because you are capable of studying the originals. And an entire BSc Psychology, BSc Vedic Psychology course can be created by you, can be taught by you, can go around and teach these courses. We are creating courses like BSc, BA Public Administration, Vedic Public Administration. People usually mistake Arthashastra to be a book of economics. If you have studied economics proper, like macroeconomics of Adam Smith, you would realize that there is nothing like that in Arthashastra. Arthashastra has no demand price equations and graphs or any such thing in that. All Arthashastra has is public administration, and as part of that there is public finance in it, in the modern terms. So that public finance has been confused to be economics. Public finance nevertheless is an application of economics only. But there is broader thing called public administration in that. How to administer the state. We can create through those courses. I am a practicing cultural anthropologist. For 30 years I have been doing field work in forests and villages and studying various castes and communities of India, directly living with them, dealing with them, interviewing them. And with that experience, in my PhD, I showed how anthropological concepts were there in the Vedas, because Brahmanas and Aranyakas are the documentation of self-conscious analysis of Veda about itself. And from that, and from Mimamsa, one French Indologist recently, a person who is positive towards India, told me, why don't you create ritual studies, a branch of anthropology from your Vedic literature? Yes, from Mimamsa and many other sources we can create a branch of anthropology called ritual studies, Vedic ritual studies, Vedic anthropology we can create, Vedic sociology we can create, Vedic political science we can create. Okay. So, you want to know what anthropology is? Do you watch TV? How many of you watch TV? Don't watch? Okay. How many of you know a channel called National Geographic Channel? How many of you have seen tribal people being shown in that? African tribes, South American tribes, weird ways of life that are shown there. To be able to show those things on the screen, I should be there. Who should be there? Anthropologists should be there. Those people who bring those videos to you are called anthropologists. Do you want to shoot like that? Do you want to go to forest areas and study tribal people, document their way of life? I have been in another profession training people for civil services examinations for IAS, IPS exams, and I have hundreds of my students all over the country. Many of them are in West Bengal also. There is one student of me, SP of Bankura district now. He was in Diamond Harbour a few months ago. Now he is the SP of Bankura. Recently he was asking me, sir, you are after these tribal people. My district, Bankura, is full of these tribes, Santhal and other tribes. Please do come. Please study these people. Yeah, I'm going to go there. One of these days, I'm going to go to Bankura and do my preliminary study of the tribes that are living there. So when you watch National Geographic channel, you are laughing like this? You don't laugh? There you watch with wonder, right? Wow. But when I mention your own neighbor, you get laugh, right? So all that you want is someone should come and shoot your neighbor and show him only in National Geographic channel. Then you will watch your own neighbor with wonder. Huh? Wow. For you, it should be a National Geographic channel. It should not be your next door. Friends, remember, for an American to know any tribal culture, he has to all the way travel to South America. He has to all the way travel to Africa. But our fortune, our luck is that our next door there is a tribal person. Next street is tribal street. We are surrounded by them. We are able to watch their way of life, beautiful way of life, their advanced knowledge. To laugh at tribals is a Western attitude. It is an evolutionist attitude. It is rooted in evolutionism. But we are not like that. Indians never laugh at tribes. I, for one, personally, I consider myself to be a tribal person. I belong to a Vedic tribe. Vedic people were tribe people. Remember that. I belong to that. I am proud of being a person from Vedic tribe. But the difference between other tribes in the world and the Vedic tribe is that other people have spells, mantras. All the people, African tribes have, South American tribes have, Amazon tribes have, all of them have, but they do not have a science of their spells, science of their mantras. Who has a science of the mantras? Where is Mantra Shastra? Only in India. Only Vedic people have a Shastra for those mantras. You understand the difference? They have mantric activities, but they do not have a science of abhichara or abhicharika activities. We have it in Atharvana Veda. They have magical activities in hunting. We too have, but we have a Shastra for it. We have everything that the other tribes have. We are also tribe people, but those tribes do not have a Shastra for it. We have a Shastra for it. That is why I said Vedic people were self-conscious people. Out of this self-consciousness, they created their own anthropology. Vedic anthropology of the Vedic society they created, that is there in Brahmanas, Aranyakas, Mimamsa and other books. I dug it out and submitted it in the form of my PhD dissertation. So now I am going to publish it and I am going to create courses of Vedic anthropology. This is the demand from 21st century, my friends. 21st century is asking you, what are you doing here? How can your Tarka, Vyakarana, Vedanta or Mimamsa can help me? Your answer is, I can teach you everything that you need from these sources. Your Tarka Sangraha basics, even those basics can help you understand artificial intelligence today. Do you know that? One of the biggest branches of computer science that is flourishing today is big data analytics. And in big data analytics and semantic search, you need tagging of semantic entities. And for these tagging of entities, you need abstractions of reality, real entities in the world, entities and relationships. And those are all perfectly tagged already, abstracted into Nyaya, Vaisheshika, and in another way in Vakyapadiyam, in Vyakarana. And there was a person in Hyderabad who submitted his PhD in computer science, is a professor of computer science there, using this for semantic search. Do you know the word semantic search? Do you search in Google? You type a word, say for example apple. How does it search? What it does is, it goes to search for the letters A, P, P, L, E in that sequence. I heard that you were all trained in C language, right? To some extent. You know the word string? There is the word character string. So what it does is, it searches for the character string APPLE in the whole verb and comes back. This is called string based search. But it does not search for the meaning of apple. It does not go there. It has no capability of doing that. If it searches for the meaning of apple and brings in all the material that is available for the meaning of apple in the web, that is called semantic search. Semantics is a branch of linguistics which studies meanings, words' meanings. Actually, you are doing already a lot of semantics, but you do not know that it is called semantics. For example, Abhida, Lakshana, Vyanjana, these Shabda Vrittis, right? And classifying meanings into Yogikartha, Rudhartha. All this is semantics only. You are doing semantics there. Okay? So, that semantic search is searching for the content about a word through the meaning of that word. How can you do that? You have to have a database of all the meanings, and then you have to classify those meanings. And to classify those meanings, the highest abstraction has been achieved in Nyaya and Vaisheshika. You have done that, you know that, but you do not know how to apply that for big data analytics. There is one Dr. Sai Susarla and his team, they are doing this semantic search, applying big data analytics. They have created a project called Vedavapi for Vedic scriptures using this. But they are not trained in Nyaya and Vaisheshika. Dr. Sai Susarla is one of the biggest computer scientists of the world. He is an Indian. He is from Sanskrit Bharati. His whole family speaks Sanskrit among themselves. But he was not properly trained in Nyaya, Vaisheshika, or all these things. So nowadays he is going after people. If he finds a Nyaya scholar, immediately says, please teach me Nyaya, please teach me Mimamsa, all these things he says. And he is not able to learn it perfectly, he is lamenting that. But you guys, you know, right? But you are not using it for big data analytics. You are not using it for knowledge engineering. You are not using it for knowledge mining. These are the future courses today. These are the future fields that are going to command the world. You have the capability of getting into those fields, but you are not using it properly. You understand what I am saying? So 21st century is not in fact giving you challenges, it is giving you opportunities. Right? That is one side of the picture. The other side of the picture, Swamiji Japasiddhanandaji was mentioning about Western Indologists, their distortions, all those things. Those things are a different story. That is also a challenge. We have to face that challenge also. We have to be able to answer those Western Indological distortions that they are doing. But when we do positive work like this, their mouths will get automatically shut. What are they saying? They are saying that your Shastras are not useful. We have already proved that the Shastras are useful by doing all these things. Then automatically their mouths will get shut. What did they say? They say that your Shastras got stagnated. Whatever Jaimini has said has been said, that's all. Your Shabara Bhashya or Kumarila or Prabhakara, all these people only comment. They keep on doing bhashyas and vyakyanas after vyakyanas, nothing newly added. Nothing is newly added to Bharata, nothing is newly added to Rasa. That fellow himself who says this, he himself wrote a book on Rasa, and he says what Sri Shankuka has said, what Bhattanayaka has said, what Abhinavagupta has said, differently from each other, but he still says Shastras got stagnated. Nothing new has been said in Shastras. Because you guys are stuck to Vedas, because you are stuck to Veda Pramanya, you cannot say anything new because you have to every time go back to Veda. So, such misunderstandings that they are spreading, we can easily counter if we are strong in our basics, if we are strong in our fundamentals. It's very easy. A Western Indologist with so much of long experience of 30 years of teaching or 30 years of teaching cannot stand in front of a small young boy like you if you are strong in your fundamentals. If you are strong in your Advaita Vedanta knowledge, even such a big scholar, Indology scholar from the West, he will not be able to understand anything. Because I will give you an example. I had an argument with one of them some time back, and then in individual correspondence, in personal correspondence, he said, I have every right to poke my nose into your affairs because I have been studying your material from 30 years. Then I said, I have been studying the shepherds of my town from 30 years, but I never poke my nose into shepherds' affairs. Do you want me to mention the name? It is on record. Okay, doesn't hurt. He was, okay, let me not. Yeah, let me not. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what. So, okay. Then afterwards, what happened? In the same group, one person asked me, he is considered to be the topmost person of Dharma Shastras among them. He asked me, what is the meaning of touching the ears? Okay. Then I went on explaining, Toba, Toba, everything. What is meant by pinching the ears, what is done in front of Ganesha, what is everything. Then gradually the whole discussion went into other things like temple rituals, and one of them asked me what is meant by pradakshina. And she is also an Indologist only, one professor somewhere. She comes and says, there is something called Atma Pradakshina also. And do you know why Atma Pradakshina is conducted? Because it was so crowded and there was no space for Pradakshina, they were doing Atma Pradakshina. And I had to explain Atma Pradakshina. And this same person asked me, another person asked me, a professor again, asked me, how can anyone rotate about oneself? Then I had to show her how Kain is rotated around itself, how planets rotate around themselves, and all that, and then say, that is what is Atma Pradakshina. And with this level of knowledge about Indian culture, they claim to be authorities on Indian culture and poke their nose into our political affairs. Friends, let me tell you, one of the challenges we face today is that we are compelled to speak politics in our colleges and universities. and we shy to speak politics here. Do you know that all over the world there was a movement called cultural studies in English literature departments? This whole so-called cultural studies, Frankfurt School, Birmingham School, all these came from English literature departments. They are literature departments. And it came because the students there started demanding that I no longer am interested in Shakespeare, Milton, all these things. You are not enlightening me about what is happening in the society. Please teach me what is happening in the society, what is politics, whatever is going on. Then, when they started teaching those things, that content turned into what is called as cultural studies today. Now, cultural studies is part of various universities, particularly English literature departments. They use the word cultural studies. They don't teach any cultural anthropology or any such thing. They teach pure politics there. Gender politics, caste politics, everything as part of English literature departments. They take pride in doing that. And today, fashion in universities, for example, just go next door, Jadavpur University, here, fashion there is postmodernism, postmodernity. And do you know that Jacques Derrida, one of the founding fathers of postmodern thinking, he comes from literature. Actually, it was his later development from one of the schools of literary criticism. There was earlier new criticism, and then there was all kinds of thinking, and post-structural literary criticism came, and Jacques Derrida comes from there. He talks about a text having several meanings, as many meanings as audience and all that. And we, in these departments here, in literature departments, in philosophy departments here, we shy to do the same. And when you go to, for example, World Sanskrit Conference here recently in Canada, when people went there, when they countered their propaganda, now what they are saying is that you are all doing politics by countering our strategies. Who is doing politics? It is they who did politics there. They brought gender questions there. It is they who brought caste questions there. And do you know, the person who is quoted as the distortionist among Western Indologists so frequently today, Sheldon Pollock, he starts most of his articles with the mention of the name of a political party called BJP. He says, I am writing this article because BJP is doing this, I want to counter their activity. Okay, a professor of Indology, interested in Sanskrit studies, talking about Sanskrit, does not hesitate to mention the name of a political party of a different country. That is not politics. But when we want to counter him, it is politics. My question is, why should we hesitate to do politics? Yes, we should also be aware. Why should we be always doing only adhyasa or adhyaropita or panchadashi or Vedanta Sara every day, shutting our eyes to whatever is happening all around? Yes, let us see what is happening all around. So, if they don't have any hesitation in doing politics about some other country, why should we hesitate to talk politics of this country, our own country? That is being distorted by them. Caste of this country being misrepresented. Gender of this country getting misrepresented. Varna of this country getting misrepresented. Power relations of this country getting misrepresented there. This is all politics only. Challenge for all of you is to study postmodernism. Study cultural studies and counter them. how using these lenses of postmodernity, postmodernism, cultural studies, they are distorting traditional understandings of traditional societies. Okay. Just 2 lines on postmodernism, Swamiji is suggesting. Postmodernism is a school of philosophy, recent school of philosophy developed around 60s in the West. Do you know the word modern? Okay, are you modern? Do you like to be modern? No. Whoever said no? Excellent. That is what is needed for 21st century. You should realize that modern is not a good word. It's not even a bad word. It's a word. It's a concept. It has got certain characteristics. Modern is we are using the word modern as though it's a word like good or bad, right? So we are using the word modern in the place of good. We are checking ourselves whether we are enough modern or not. That's not required. Modern has certain characteristics. And those characteristics, if we don't like, we don't have. What's wrong? We are not modern. Right? For example, to be modern, you have to be anti-religious. Are you? If you are not anti-religious, you are not modern. To be modern, you have to be anti-past. Are you against past of your country or whatever past? You are not. So you are not modern. And even I am. I am not anti-religious. So I am not modern. Right? I am not anti-past, so I am not modern. So there is nothing wrong in not being modern. I am not modern. And I can even say that I am against modernity. Because I am against being anti-religious. I don't like being anti-religious. So I am anti-modern. And this word modern, as a word to be investigated, as a word to be studied, was done by postmodern people. Those philosophers like Jacques Derrida, Foucault, Lacan, these people mostly from France, who questioned the very foundations of modernity. The foundational philosophers like Descartes and all these people, whoever questioned them, they are called postmodern people. So what postmodern people do is, they interrogate modernity. That is what they say. They say that we are interrogating modernity. We are putting modernity in a court hall. We are questioning it. That's what they say. And you might realize that there is something postmodern today. And all these days you were checking yourself whether I am modern or not. Then when you realize that there is postmodern today, you will check how postmodern you are. One day you will say, I am also postmodern today. By the time they will come up with postmodern. And you will go on checking yourself how much you are postmodern or postmodern, and they will go on going forward. One day you will realize that you can never be there. Why should you be there? Why should we check ourselves whether we are enough modern or not? Why should we be modern at all? Right? So this realization that I need not be modern, I can be against modernity. If whoever has said with awareness, I am very happy that they are very clearly saying that I am not modern. I need not be modern. I can be against modernity, right? But I am not postmodern also. Just as postmodern people are doing critique of modernity from a certain angle, I am also doing critique of modernity only from, say, traditional angle, say, Advaita Vedantic angle, or some Timbuktu angle, whatever it is. Okay, you do critique of modernity not from Advaita Vedanta. You do critique of modernity from your own school of Vedanta, maybe Buddhaita Vedanta or whatever. You create your own school of Vedanta and say, I am doing critique of modernity from that philosophy. But do critique. Because someone is already doing critique of modernity. Why should he leave that job only to him? Do it yourself. You understand? So that is all happening all around the world in 21st century. Actually, it is not even 21st century. Postmodern has come in 60s. In India, it landed in 80s and 90s. Now it has become the latest fashion in universities. But already it is getting outdated in universities because it is already decades. It has landed into Indian universities. So, are we there? Are we able to talk to them? Are we able to see that doing politics in the name of cultural studies and postmodern, people are not shying away from that? Why should we shy away? There is no need to shy away. Swami Vivekananda never shied away from talking these things. He was very proud when he was talking in America. He said, even a rickshaw puller in my country knows Vedanta. A poor man, a tribal person also knows Vedanta, just as a rickshaw puller in your country also knows politics. That was his view of the Western society, that Western society is very much into politics, they are interested in politics and all that. Yeah, yes, they are doing that. Now they are doing politics about us. And should we keep doing Vedanta all the time? Because our rickshaw pullers do Vedanta, we should also be doing Vedanta. And keep quiet about whatever nonsense they talk. About this country, about our culture, about our Vedanta, about Shankara, about Vedas. There is absolutely no need. Let us also do politics. Don't hesitate. Don't hesitate to do politics, counter politics to their politics. Okay, that's another challenge that we have today. And why are they doing all this politics? With this, I will end my talk today. There is another person that is projected every time when we talk about Western Indologists and their distortions apart from Sheldon Pollock. It is Wendy Doniger. And her book on Hinduism, the way she talks about Shivalinga as some sex toy and all that, these are very popular. One of her most recent mantra darshana is that Bhagavad Gita is a terrorist book. And the greatest professor of India who was doing Tala Bhajan for her was Romilla Thapar. Greatest historian from India. She says, Samba Sada Shiva. Wendy Doniger says, immediately Romilla Thapar says, Samba Sada Shiva. She does bhajan. Whatever she says, she does the bhajan of her. And the word from both of them is that Bhagavad Gita is a terrorist book. And if you read the article on Bhagavad Gita by Wendy Doniger, it begins with this statement: Bhagavad Gita is not such a nice book as many Americans think. You understand the import of this sentence? First point is that many Americans think that Bhagavad Gita is a nice book. You understand? Bhagavad Gita is not such a nice book as many Americans think. That is the sentence. What is the implication? You all know how to break sentences into parts, clauses, bring out the sentence. So the point is that many Americans think that Bhagavad Gita is a nice book. It is not so nice as you think. This is what she wants to say. You have to apply this logic to whatever Sheldon Pollock, whatever Wendy Doniger, whatever people like them are doing. For them, the whole problem is that the world is today thinking that yoga is nice, Vedanta is nice, Hinduism is nice, temple is nice, puja is nice. What they want to do is to show that this is not nice. This is not so nice as you think. You know a book called American Veda? Let us get a copy of that to the library. Please, all of you read that book. That book is by one American, I think a journalist, who documented how much impact spiritual organizations from India went and created in America, including Ramakrishna Math or Chinmaya Mission or whatever. Huge amount of documentation is there about how much impact they are making in American culture, American society. So if you read such literature and if you see how much impact Buddhism and other things are making on those Western societies, you will realize their need to say it is not so nice as you think. Who is thinking that they are all nice? Their own people are thinking that these are all nice. So their requirement, their need is to show that these are all nice. These are all not nice because you are falling after them. Okay? So opportunity and challenge at the same time today is that world at large is realizing the nicety, the beauty of many things that belong to Hindus. And simply because this is happening, there is a group of academicians, there is a group of politicians, political academicians, academic politicians, who are out there to show that these are all nice things. Actually, one of the official people there once met me and said, "Do you teach in your classes that Indian temples are dirty? Indian temples have filth in them. Indian temples smell very bad when you go inside." Then I said, "I don't. Why should I say?" No, actually you must, because Americans here are going only to the American Hindu temples because these are clean and neat and all that. They are thinking that Hindu temples in India are also so clean and so neat, but they should be made to realize that actual Hindu temples in actual India are all dirty, very bad, foul smelling, ugly places. So you are able to see the fear they have, insecurity they have. Why should they talk about Hindu temples today? If no one in America went to Hindu temples, they would not have talked about these things. Because they are able to see that there is greater and greater attraction towards things from Sanskrit literature, things from Hinduism, things from all these things. They are now compelled, they are now forced into this kind of, it is not so nice as you think kind of talks. Okay? But you are all capable, my friends, of shutting their mouths, answering them. You are all traditional scholars. You are trained in traditional Sanskrit Vedas and Vedanta. What Sheldon Pollock said is, when you are countering, all those who are countering me are modern Sanskrit scholars. They are not traditional scholars. No traditional Sanskrit scholars have ever said anything against me. But you are all traditional Sanskrit scholars. You are all getting trained in traditional Vedanta. Answer him. Tell him that we are there. Come, talk to us, answer us. If you have to get into Indian ashramas and traditional scholars, you should first cross us, the border security force. Thank you.
Many thanks to you, sir, Professor Nagaraj Paturi, for such an enlightening and engaging speech. Dear students, Professor has been very clear in mentioning some of the challenges that we have to face now. First, he mentioned that knowledge engineering, knowledge mining, that area remains yet to be explored by our research scholars. Secondly, cultural studies. It is a very systemic way to attack the Indian tradition. So we too should come up with strategies by which we will be able to answer them in a befitting way. Since he also had mentioned me once, he had had several direct engagements with Sheldon Pollock also. Our students don't know. Sometime you may please tell what he is doing and why he is. Many of them might not have heard about him. To put in one or two sentences, he is one of the professors in the America who is attacking the Indian culture by studying the Indian Shastras. Studying should be put in double quotes. We don't know what he has studied. He claims to be that. Our professor had once told me when I met him in Nagpur workshop, just telling that we don't accept him or we don't accept his views will not work today. Then what should we do? Nagaraj says, you have to sit down and work systematically and come up with proper strategies to explain him and show him, I don't mean just him, such people, that they are absolutely wrong and it is absurdical to make such statements on our Indian tradition. So Professor has been so clear and interesting to us. We will be eager to hear him more in the evening. Today by 2:45 we have the next session. The subject will be, do we need to be scientific? Scientific put in double quotes. Thank you, sir. Om Shanti 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 Hare Om Tat Sat Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.
स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय Ramakrishnaय ते नमः।